Let's make some noise. Come on.
Thank you, Super Bowl MVP Nick Foles. Yes, let's make some noise. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the weekly finale of our Final Word with MattyB here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network on our Thursday night edition. We're going to send you into the weekend right here tonight on the program because, hallelujah, we have an offensive coordinator. Philadelphia Eagles today announced Sean Mannion. Mannion, formerly the quarterback coach of the Green Bay Packers, will become the new OC. Will he or will he not have play calling duties? Well, he hasn't had them before, so will he have them now? Of course, the first question is, how do you stand on it? If you're going to ask me if I knew who the hell Sean Monahan or Mannion, how many times am I going to say Monahan? It took me about 4 months to figure out how to say Patullo. So this should be easier. But if you asked me 3 days ago who Sean Mannion was, I would be like Mr. and Mrs. Mannion's son. Because I have no idea who he is. I've maintained this stance the entire offensive coordinator drama. I don't care who it is. Just as long as he can come in here and work well with Jalen Hurts. Notice I didn't say Sirianni. I said Jalen Hurts. Is this the guy? Now, if we look at Mannion, I don't know why, man. And I have a really long last name. You would think that I would be able to, after a lifetime of correcting people on how to say my last name, because B is not my last name. It's not my Christian name. But after a lifetime of correcting people on how to say my name, you'd think I'd be more adroit on proper pronunciation to others' names. But I'm not. But Sean Mannion is, the first question I have, as we'll definitely break ground into this, will probably be the dominating topic. What's the difference between him and Kevin Patullo? Anybody tell me that? I mean, if you look at the stuff side to side, it looks somewhat similar, right? I want to know if somebody else can bring something more to the conversation tonight about this. That'd be great. But right now, it looks like we hired Kevin Patullo's doppelganger as it pertains to experience, as it pertains to last position held, as it pertains his ability or his experience in play calling. It honestly looks like that we're hiring Kevin Patullo's doppelganger. And that's fine, but we already had the original. Why do you have to hire the doppelganger? And is this the right way that the Eagles should go? I'm down the middle here. I honestly am. I'm not. I don't. You could have brought in anybody. I'd be like, fine, just as long as that person can work with Jalen Hurts. I don't really. That is my only qualification for this job. But I was pretty heavy on the dark horse candidate of Philip Rivers. Now, Philip Rivers didn't serve as a quarterback's coach. He served as a quarterback up until he's about 45 years old. I don't know if we're going to go with a former quarterback. And I get it. That's maybe the difference between Patullo and Mannion. But if you're going to go with a former quarterback, why don't you go with a former perennial future Hall of Famer in Philip Rivers? So I don't know. Is this what you wanted? Is this what you signed up for? Is this a move for 2026 or beyond? That's an interesting point here too. Is Sean Mannion, who is, I guess, considered in a lot of NFL circles the hottest thing arising, is he more for possibly 2027 as a head coach? Are the Eagles positioning themselves to break free of Nick Sirianni in 2027? So do they pluck, the hot young riser and move him into a position within the organization now so that he's set up to easily transition into possibly being the new head coach of the Eagles? Because everything points to a 1-year tryout for this guy. Because, we have this sort of tendency here that, You fail as an offensive coordinator, you get fired after 1 year. You're highly successful as an offensive coordinator, and you get a head coaching job. So he has 1 year to prove himself here. Sean Mannion, your new OC. What's up, Adam? How are you tonight? Good to see you again. Best quarterback in Eagles history, Super Bowl MVP. Super Bowl MVP. You've got MVP in there, Adam. Nick Foles. How do you say your last name? I cannot say that for purposes of FBI identification. Not going to say that. I don't want the FBI to have the latest picture of me saying my last name. It's a matter of national security, Adam. I was a soldier for 30 years. I did some highly covert stuff. I don't want to, I don't want to give myself away. No, I'm not going to tell you that, man. It's personal. Ask Al. He'll tell you what it is. But Sean Mannion, your new offensive coordinator. Now that leaves the one area of drama handled. We got the offensive coordinator. What's the other one, right? What's the big Schefter thing about the bombshell? That's the next thing on the plate. Do we have to wait till next week, or can that happen tomorrow too? Is this going to be now a snowball effect for the Eagles? Was this the big one? Get that out the way, and now let's move on to that other earth-shattering, unrelated to the offensive coordinator. Is it Vic Fangio's retirement? Is it God forbid, God help me, God please, Nick Sirianni getting a last-minute heave-ho out the door? Is it a trade, which I don't think they can really even leak a trade at this point? The season's not over yet. What is the other bombshell piece of news? That's now what I want to know. I kind of already moved to that last night anyway. Kind of was over the whole offensive coordinator thing and moving on to that next piece of information. But now I want to know what that the next one is. So Sean Mannion, your new offensive coordinator. And yes, that'll be the dominating topic, but not the only topic, as we'll get into some baseball tonight too. We're going to do another hot stove report. We've got a few more names on the old hot stove tracker that need to be talked about. We'll get into some of them. Your Philadelphia Flyers are in action as we speak, and it is the same old right now. 5-2 now, Flyers trail. Just underway in the third period. Sam Ersson got the start, gave up 5 goals through 2 periods, and now Dan Vladar has moved in to replace him heading into the third period. Travis Konecny with a goal tonight. Another one, as he's on fire right now. But the Flyers struggling again. And once again, I know we have offensive problems and we have defensive problems. But if you can't get the most basic position under control, and that is between the pipes, what do they say in football? You build from the trenches out, right? Well, in hockey, you build from the net out. And that's how you build a Stanley Cup contender. You build from the net out. And right now, we don't have anything in the net. But yet we're left to endure Sam Ersson every other day, every 3 days, every 3 games. Sam Ersson. Flyers will be wrapping up their pre-Olympic festivities next week. You got a game on Saturday against the Kings, and then 2 next week, and then they're off for about 3 weeks. Does Danny B do something in those 3 weeks to address that position? Or do we have to wait to the trade deadline? Or if he does he do anything? And I understand what the Flyers' plan is. It's internal. They're trying to develop Carson Bjornsson. I don't know if Kovalsov is even in that developmental picture anymore, but Bjornsson is, and so is Igor Zarajin, the kid out in Russia. He's definitely in the development window, and that's, and honestly, in theory, it's fine if that's what they want to do. But until they address that position and they find the goddamn goalie, I think we got a backup. Dan Vladar, he's a damn good backup. But until we find that starting goalie, that guy that we can lean on for 65 games a season, we're not going anywhere. And if a trip to the playoffs this year would be great, and that, I think it's well needed. You don't want to go 6 years without a playoff appearance because no other team in Flyers history has done that. They've never not made the playoffs for 6 years. 5 has been the most. So I definitely think a trip to the playoffs is needed, but we're not doing anything until we figure out the goalie position, and that's just a stark reality. Not to mention the center and the defense as well. But You got to start with the goddamn goalie. And right now the Flyers, but we're subjected to watching Sam Ersson play, which I really don't understand why. But tonight, when this thing does wrap up, if the Flyers can make a feverish comeback, which with 14 minutes to go now, I don't know if they can, we will have you on Clear the Ice. Mike Laro will be doing Clear the Ice tonight as standalone. No more twofers, as I have stepped down from Clear the Ice duties until sometime next week. I think I'm back on Tuesday against Washington. I think it's my next Clear the Ice game. So you'll have Mike Laro on Thursday and Mike or Al on Saturday. That's right, Al. I know you're listening. I know you're shucking and jiving me on this. If Mike can't do it because of the snow, you're doing it. End of story. The word of God. But make sure you're checking us out. Check out the Clear the Ice program. It's jolly good entertainment. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Who is Sean Mannion? I mean, the search landed some guy who never, ever called a play in the NFL. Yeah, Kaepernick did. And not to mention that he replaced the guy that never, ever had called a play in the NFL, right? And he replaced the guy that was the quarterback's coach, right? Again, why did you replace Kevin Patullo again? Because you hired his doppelganger. You hired his exact opposite number. And we are in the same spot as we are. But yes, yet, and I haven't really gauged the room yet. I haven't looked around into the Homer River yet. I don't know what they're saying. I know they're going to talk themselves into this being a great hire because these homers are going to say they've done their research on Sean Mannion and they know what they're talking about. When they don't, nobody knows who this guy is unless you or a Green Bay Packer fan, a Minnesota Viking fan, a St. Louis Rams fan, or a Seattle Seahawk fan. That's the only fan bases that know who Sean Mannion is. And the other teams being the teams he played for in a very uninspiring, 6, 7, 8 year career in the NFL as a backup quarterback. But they're going to try to tell you that this is exactly what the Eagles need, a fresh approach to this problem from the outside. And maybe they're right. I don't know. But honestly, again, I'm down the middle here. I'm not taking really a hard stance against anything. I am going into this as clueless as everybody else is. Is he going to call plays? Because Nick Sirianni, I mean, they hired a newbie, right? And Kaepernick, you were big time on this. They hired a guy, first time. Is he now going to be the latest Nick Sirianni puppet? Is Nick Sirianni still going to have his fingerprints all over this offense? And if that's the case, then why did you fire Kevin Patullo? Because he was already here. So if there's a consideration or a concern here, it's that we didn't get any better. We might not have gotten worse, but we didn't get any better. And that's obviously a problem. And how much respect is Jalen Hurts going to have for a quarterback or a former quarterback who bounced around from team to team to team, didn't have a good NFL career, and now he's going to come in here and try to tell Jalen Hurts what to do? I don't understand the hire from those aspects. But again, I'm not in the room. I didn't listen to the interview or whatever. Again, I'm more interested to know what the other bombshell is. What's the big bombshell? Let's get to that. This is a Sirianni written all over the call. His system, as I don't see this new OC to have full autonomy. Yep. Yeah, and I just said that. Bump Sam, whoever on the Flyers. I have had to endure Robbie for the last 4 years, and I'm still going. The Flyers haven't had a good homegrown goalie since Pelly and Hextall. I will give you Pelly. Matter of fact, as I've often said on this show, and rest in peace, by the way, Pelly Lindbergh, that, and I don't mean to make light of what happened to him on that November evening, early Sunday morning in November 1985, when he slammed his Porsche into the steps of that school going about 90 miles an hour. And I'm not making light of it, but I think that the last thing that came out of his mouth was, "I curse you, Flyers, for putting me here in this position." And honestly, I think we've been enduring that curse since then. You mentioned Hextall. Yeah, I mean, he was probably the only other one out of all these years that have since passed that you can honestly say was a solid, above average to good starting goaltender. And that's obviously not Daniel Barrera's fault. That's criminally negligent on the Flyers organization, as they just have not been able to develop or keep or identify good goaltenders for over 40 years. And I don't have a reason for it. I can understand a regime not being able to do it, a GM, a coach. But we've had about 9, 10 GMs in that time span, probably 15 coaches, and no one's figured it out. So it's got to be the curse of Pelle Lindbergh, if you're asking me, honestly. The only thing I can think of hiring Mannion because you worked with Jordan Love. And that's, maybe that is it. Maybe that's it. A young athletic quarterback that's sort of not your traditional pocket passing type of quarterback. But, I immediately went back to the Packers too. I immediately thought back to the Packers. And honestly, to me, they're the most overhyped team in the NFL. I honestly don't see it. I don't see Matt LaFleur as a good coach. I don't respect Jordan Love as a player. I think they're extremely overhyped. But, I guess that's the reason, right? And I know I don't want Matt Nagy. I don't want Brian Daboll. I don't want McDaniels. I mean, all those people that are saying that because they don't want the retreads. Well, okay, I get that. But you went completely to the other end of the spectrum, and you got to get another newbie. And as Mike Kaepernick said, the complete autonomy position here concerns me because I definitely wanted a Vic Fangio type of offensive coordinator, a guy to come in here and say, hey, you stand here in the middle of the field. All right. Right here in the middle of the sideline is where you don't go any further than here. All right. I won't cross this line. You don't cross this line. I'll nod to you at the beginning of the game. I'll nod to you at halftime, and then we'll shake hands at the end of the game. That's the kind of offensive coordinator I wanted to come in here. That's in a perfect world, that's who I wanted. But now you're potentially in a spot here where you got another guy that's going to get pushed around by a buffoon and a moron. And that doesn't, again, we had that last year. His name was Kevin Patullo. So by that aspect, I don't really understand it either. But is this move more for 2027? And what I mean by that, of course, is when Sirianni, 5 or 6 fingers this thing to death next year, and it's the same old thing, and they end up getting away from Sirianni. Was this move to bring in Monahan and move by the Eagles to identify the landscape of the NFL, see the fact that his star was on the rise anyway, and if they didn't come in and get him in 2025, somebody else probably would have came in and got him in 26, potentially, or as a coordinator or a head coach candidate. Are the Eagles positioning themselves for 2027 with this kid? Is this more of a strategic move in that aspect, that they're guarding themselves against or setting themselves up for future considerations when they have to fire old boy, send him down along the way? Is he going to be possibly the next head coach? Or does the Eagles give him another chance under another coach? I mean, I think there's more to this hiring than just what it is, because it's very honest. It's very uninspiring. It's very, it's like ooh, wow, that's it. I'd like to believe there's something more to this as we move forward. I like Chico Resch. I love Chico Resch. First goalie to innovate the caged helmet with the hockey mask face, right? And the paint. He was really the first one to kind of marry the two together. And Ron Hextall took it to a all other level and created a revolution with that style. And of course, now every goalie wears a mask like that. But Chico Resch was the first one to really kind of innovate hockey masks or goalie masks. And when he was a Devil, he used to have the coolest mask with the red and the green. I dug that too. Now, when Rush came to the Flyers, he was kind of wrapping up. He was a competent backup, but his like starting days were kind of behind him. But yes, now he was very good, and it was a very good pickup by the Flyers. I agree. John Harbaugh's licking his chops. Yeah, he is. Yeah, the NFC East. I don't know. Does this move send shockwaves through Big D? Does it send shockwaves through East Rutherford? Are they quaking in their boots in Virginia about this move that the Eagles made tonight? That's a good question. It's a very good question. I think Howie let Sirianni pick this OC so he can fire him a few games in. I mean, hopefully. So you're saying that Howie let Sirianni, there's no way in God's green earth that after 2 straight Sirianni hires that we got fired after 1 year, and Brian Johnson and Kevin Patullo, that Howie Roseman let Nick Sirianni pick this guy. There's no friggin' way. And if that's the case, one, Nick Sirianni got to be the stupidest guy on the planet, because you can see this is coming a mile away that they're setting me up. Nah, Howie, I ain't picking him. Nope. You're setting me up. I know what you're doing. I ain't picking this guy. You pick him. I don't think Sirianni's that stupid. Or is he like one of those guys where Howie says, go ahead, Nick, you can go pick the offensive coordinator, and Sirianni like whips his head around and goes, squirrel. I mean, is that what Sirianni is? He might be. I don't know. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit. But I know if it was me, old MattyB, and Howie said, hey, Matt, go ahead and pick the next offensive coordinator. Oh, no. You ain't doing that. Fool me once. Shame on me. Fool me twice. Shame on you. Oh, no. You ain't getting me a third time. Ain't doing that. But so I don't believe that. And I hope to hell that's not what happened. I mean, we make fun of the intelligence level of Nick Sirianni, but come on, man. It can't be that bad, right? Right? I mean, he's not a monoslavic, right? I mean, he's a breathing, speaking, thinking human being, correct? I don't think he would fall for that. Yeah, maybe they do. And I've heard that already tonight. I heard somebody was saying Andy Reid wasn't Andy Reid before he came here. 100%. But we didn't hire Andy Reid to be the offensive coordinator. We hired him to be the head coach, right? And then they use Nick Sirianni as the case study. Nick Sirianni wasn't Nick Sirianni before he came here. Well, what the hell is Nick Sirianni? Don't be putting him in the same category as Andy Reid. That's disrespectful to Andy Reid. All right? Disrespectful to Andy Reid. Nick Sirianni is a buffoon. So don't use that against him. Don't even try to make that comparison. That, Nick Sirianni was some secret find. No, he wasn't, man. I heard that Doug Peterson wasn't Doug Peterson until he came. Listen, I get it, but these are all head coaches. I don't remember the last time we brought somebody in that set the world ablaze as an offensive or defensive coordinator, maybe with the exception of Steichen. All right. I get it, and I understand this is how you build the future generation. And again, as I said, I am down the middle on this whole thing. If this is the right guy, great. I just want him to get work with Jalen Hurts and try to get as much as he can out of him. But I don't know if this guy's going to be able to do that. I really don't. And I don't see much difference between Kevin Patullo and Sean Mannion. I'll get it. I'll get it just before they fire him. I'll be able to say his name correctly. But I understand. I do. How you doing, man? Going to bed already? You just got here. They're going to open up here in a few minutes. I got to give some. I did not do the day in Philadelphia sports history last night. I got to do that again. I can't miss that. I've never missed that. I don't know how I got off topic on that, but I will open the phone lines. What's going on, Joe Hale? Hopefully out of the hospital. My day was good, brother. How about you? How are you doing, Joe Hale? Yes. Joe, are you out of the hospital? Are you home? Update with me. I had a heart attack. Jesus Christ. Oh, Joe. Listen, Joe, it's okay. You don't have to tune in, man. You can convalesce. I appreciate it. Joe, I want you to get better, man. You don't have to tune into this show if you had a heart attack. Last night, for those of you that don't know, Joe Hale, while laying in a hospital bed laying in a hospital bed, called into the show. He won the 2026 It's a Wrap Sports #1 contributor award already, and we have not even gotten out of the month of January. When we get t-shirts made, which we are doing, as I said, I got to talk to the money people some more. We're going to get a tester group of about 10 or 15 t-shirts done in black with the It's a Wrap Sports logo on the chest, and then all of our show logos on the back. We're going to get that done, hopefully for production and distribution by the summer. But Joe Hale will be the first shirt issued out because of his undying devotion to the program and the network. I'll never forget that. I'll be here, brother. Awesome. Respect to Joe Hale. Absolutely, man. He is a soldier. Yep. And I'll never forget this as long as I live. And Joe, when we make it big, we make it, this becomes a 24-hour, 7-day operation with, shows all day long. And I moved to the Tasty Cake Studios in 13th and Market Street in Center City, Philadelphia. We will name our main studio the Joe Hale Studio, and in homage to you, our #1 contributor. So, no, Joe, I hope you're doing okay. And yeah, I will open the phone lines here in a minute. But let's get to the day in Philadelphia sports history, because again, I missed it last night, and I don't like missing that. It's part of what we do here. It's part of what makes this show oh so unique. But before I do that, let me remind everybody that here on the network, we still have plenty to talk about this week. Tonight, following the Flyer game, which is winding down right now, Flyers still trail 5-2. You'll have some Clear the Ice with Mike Laro. Tomorrow, Allison Fury joins you with the Philly Friday Frenzy. On Saturday, it's the best of the week of It's a Wrap Sports. Starting at 8 a.m. and running until complete, you'll see all the shows that you might have missed replayed in their entirety on our network on Saturday. And then a little bit later on in the day, you got Flyers Kings post game. That's a day game, isn't it? I got to readjust that. I forgot about that. Flyers Kings will have post game. I'll have to readjust some of the shows. And on Sunday, the Philly AM Sports and the Final Word with me as well. So there you have the rest of the week here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network, and we cannot wait, as I said, take you out of the week and pop you right into that weekend. So let's get into our day in Philadelphia sports history. Let's strap in, strap on, strap up. Keep your head, hands, and feet inside the car at all times. And here we go. On this day in 1993, 6:10 a.m., later to be known as 94.1 FM, WIP's first ever, what do you think today was, 93? When I mentioned WIP, first ever in 1993, on this day, what do you think I'm talking about? That's right. Wing Bowl today in 1993 was the very first ever Wing Bowl event held by WIP down there at the Wyndham Franklin Plaza in downtown Philly. It started amidst a downtrodden, and so basically it was done to make fun of the playoff drought, the god-awful football. Again, some of you younger fans don't remember this. Some of you younger fans don't even acknowledge this could even happen. But there was a time in this city where football was not as good as it is today, and the playoffs were not a given thing. And 94 WIP, Al Morgani, Angelo Cataldi, they started this as sort of a defiant FU to the Philadelphia Eagles, because if you can't have playoff football, well, then we're going to do something else for the Eagles fans. And that's how the idea of Wing Bowl was born. They came up with, eventually became one of the competitive eating top events. So it morphed into one of the most, I guess somebody keeps track of this stuff, one of the biggest events in competitive eating. And of course it was just that, debauchery and stuff yourself with food. The first Wing Bowl took place in a hotel lobby. Think about what Wing Bowl became, and also think back to the fact that the first one was in a hotel lobby. It's absolutely amazing. Two contestants vying for the title of Philly's top glutton, and just 150 people watched. Carmen Cordero won the title, eating 100 wings, taking home a hibachi grill for his prize. The event was canceled after 2018, but not due to disinterest. Over 20,000 fans packed the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia each year on the eve of the Super Bowl weekend to witness 20-plus eaters pig out for the top prize, which usually included a new set of wheels and thousands of dollars in cash. And, of course, it de-evolved into this debauchery. It got raunchy as hell. But, listen, we understood why it was created. And in its heyday, it was really cool. It really was. El Wingador, of course, some of the names in the Wing Bowl Hall of Fame. But and they would have it early in the morning, like during the morning show time slot, 6 to 10 a.m. That's when they would put this event on. So you're getting trashed at like 10 a.m. because there was a heavy drinking going on down there and all this. It was a huge party. And again, it went from a venue of 150 people watching it in a hotel lobby to 20,000 people at the Wells Fargo Center in 2018 when its last year that they did it. So happy Wing Bowl anniversary, everybody. I've never participated. I never went down and watched one. I always meant to, but I never got around to doing it. Partly because it's too goddamn early in the morning. But I know a lot of people made that their yearly pilgrimage to go check that thing out. But happy Wing Bowl. Oh, man. So much go information. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. It's happy and entertaining, brother. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm happy. I am just busting at the seams with happiness. All right, so the phone lines there are now open. I'm going to open them up. If you guys want to jump in on the Kevin Patullo conversation, you can. If you want to talk about Flyers, Phillies, Sixers, whatever you want else, you can as well. You also want to bring up the other part, the part that I'm waiting for, the Schefter bombshell. That's the real thing that I'm waiting to hear, and that is is what's happening with that. Unfortunately, Facebook, we're not broadcasting off of tonight. That's my own fault. That won't happen again, I promise you. And Twitter or X, if you're watching us from X, it's not able to load on X either. So basically, you can only log in if you're watching here on YouTube, but that's fine. Just jump on board. We'll have some fun with it. But yeah, we're going to get into some more baseball. We got on our Of the Night segment tonight, we're just going to talk Philly Spotlight player. We're not going to get into a NHL draft target tonight. We're just going to talk about a Philly Spotlight player, and then we'll do the card of the night as well. We'll wrap up the week in style. I'm going to send this thing off in style. And, of course, remember, a little scheduling note. Next week is it. My last week here at base camp. I will then be moving on out to I'm going on the road until about middle of April. So we will be broadcasting from the road. But just so that you know, this will be my final week at base camp until around mid-April. So heavy hearts here at the old MattyB house, honestly. Do I like wrestling? I do not. I never got into wrestling. It was never my thing. I never got into comic books, never got into video games, never got into any of that stuff. I was too interested in girls at a very early age, too early of an age, honestly, and they really screwed up my life. Stay away from the women, goddammit. It wasn't worth it. Maybe I should have paid attention more to wrestling and comics and movies and all that, and instead of chasing skirt. I don't know, man. I don't know. But anyway, phone lines are open. Please hop on if you want to enjoy a conversation directly with me. You don't have to have a camera on, just your microphone. It is now 6-2, by the way, as the Flyers are not going to pull this thing out, as it's now 6-2 with about 3 minutes to go. It looks like the Flyers are going to drop another one in this very dreadful month of January. Dan Vladar came in for Sam Ersson for the third period, did pretty well, but gave up the goal there as Flyers offense is anemic yet again. Sean Mannion is your new offensive coordinator. Is he what you're looking for? And I asked you if he is, tell me the difference between him and Kevin Patullo. I'd like to know. As I said earlier, I have not really had the opportunity to get into deep what the homers are talking about yet. I just haven't had that chance yet. I will throughout the night and into the morning. And I'm sure I'm going to hear all kinds of crazy stuff that they're going to tell you that, oh, yeah. Well, we've been tracking this guy for years. It's going to be lies. But I have not really digested what they're saying about him. But I would imagine what they're saying. And again, I'm not putting words in their mouths, but I imagine what they're saying is is similar to what they said about Kevin Patullo about a year ago. I guarantee you the words different perspective, a different type of energy. Yeah, he's a first-time play caller, but maybe that's what the Eagles need. Maybe he's more relatable to Jalen Hurts. You know, the same things we heard about Kevin, or same things they told us about Kevin Patullo a year ago, are going to be the same things that they're going to tell you about Sean Mannion. And the bottom line with this guy is just nobody knows, right? There is no track record. I mean, ultimately, you don't know how anybody is going to do, but with this guy, there's not even a way to even perform an experiment to find out what he's going to be like as an offensive coordinator. And we don't know what type of offensive coordinator he's going to be. And what I mean by that is he going to have play calling responsibilities? You know, part of the problem last year with an offense that never evolved from week 1 until week 19, to include the San Francisco 49er loss in the playoffs, was an offense that never evolved. It was an offense that was predicated and relied upon a strong, potent running game from Saquon Barkley and the offensive line leading the way, much like how the offense was successful in 2024. Unfortunately, either through injuries, the offensive line was a year older, Saquon was a year older, defense had figured out the offensive scheme when it came to Saquon. Whatever the case was, that prolific running attack, vanished early on in the season. And defenses put the onus on Jalen Hurts to try to beat them with his arm, and he could not do it, especially in the big-time games. So this offense never evolved. Now, Nick Sirianni at some point, and it came out, I guess, earlier today as well, or yesterday, that Jeff Stoutland at one point was relieved of run coordinator duties, whatever. I don't even, what is a run coordinator? Run game coordinator? Is that the running backs coach? And why do you have to have a position for that? Why can't that just be the offensive coordinator handling all that? But Jeff Stoutland was apparently relieved of that duty at some point during the season. But Sirianni, you know, and again, it's kind of come out that he sort of took over play calling responsibilities to a certain degree to help out Kevin Patullo. And obviously it didn't work. Now we're looking at a situation again. I'm down the middle. I truly mean that. I don't have necessarily a hard yes or a hard no on this hire. I don't. I mean, I just want someone that's going to come in because I don't know who the guy is. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know anything about him, other than the fact that he's a first-time play caller, if that's what they're going to have him do. He's a former third-round draft pick of the St. Louis Rams, come out of the University of Oregon State, I believe. Bounced around the NFL from 2015 to 2023. Took over as an offensive assistant for Green Bay in 24. Got the quarterback's coach job in 25. And now here he is at our doorstep as the offensive coordinator. So that's about the extent of what I know. I don't know anything about his style or his philosophies because nobody does, because he hasn't goddamn called plays yet ever in the NFL level. So I'm not going to sit here and try to explain and get into the weeds about who this guy is because I have no idea what he is. And I don't know if nobody does. Nobody knows how he is as an offensive coordinator because he's never done it before. But obviously, if he gets along with Jalen Hurts, is all that really matters. And Kenny, I don't know. And time will tell. But the question is, again, didn't we already have him? And his name was Kevin Patullo. So I don't really understand the philosophy of the hiring. You might as well just kept Patullo, right? Maybe give Kevin Patullo an opportunity to be better in his second year instead of literally going back to the drawing board at the first year with the same type of situation. So I don't know. I don't know, man. But we'll have to wait and see. So with the Flyers game wrapping up, let's bring Mike Lauro on. Hey, Mike.
Hi, Matty. Thank you once again for filling in for me last night. Definitely a little under the weather there after dealing with what I had to deal with over the weekend. Yeah, I will have you guys right after MattyB at 10 o'clock for this Flyers post game. It did not go well, as They're up there in Boston. They actually cut it to 6-3. I wanted to ask you, Matty.
Come back. Oh, we're coming back.
Yes. Might fall just a little short there, bud. Wanted to ask you a question.
Sure.
The Christian Dvorak goal early in the first period. Did you agree with the call?
Yes.
Okay. See, I didn't. I thought that it was kind of incidental that his stick got caught there, and but that's why I turned around. I was like, man,
Hey, we gotta listen. Let me ask you this: how much more of Sam Ersson do we got to see?
I don't know, man, but he needs to go.
Honestly, listen, the Flyers' defense and offense is not shutting the world down. But how many of these games could the Flyers have potentially won if they had a different goalie?
More than half. This guy right now is Swiss cheese, man. He is Swiss cheese. Like, they just shoot the puck and it finds its way in. He's bad, man. Like, I don't care. Bring somebody up from the Phantoms. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, Sam Ersson, like, when they come back to play the Kings on Saturday, I want to hear tomorrow that he's been optioned down the Lehigh Valley. Somebody else can at least get away. If they get away a half of the pucks that this guy has seen and let in, the Flyers actually have a chance here.
Yeah.
He's frustrating to watch, man. He is. He's really. You kind of almost, as Glenn Rivers would say, it's a scheduled loss. When you see him in net, you're going, it's a scheduled loss.
Yeah, but when you're a rebuilding team, you should the word scheduled loss should not be in your vocabulary when you're a rebuilding team. Matter of fact, those words shouldn't be in anybody's vocabulary. It's such a soft ass millennial way to be on a sports team. But no, listen, I'm patient with a rebuilding team, and I am, and I understand there's other issues. We don't have a center, we don't have the number one defensive. A lot of things we don't have, but. And we don't have a goalie, and that's not news. That's not surprising. We know we don't have a goalie, but I mean, come on, man. Enough's enough.
Somebody stop the puck at least.
Put Kovaslav up there, and if he can't cut it, bring Bjornsson up. Let him try it out. And then in the spring, when Zarajan comes over, slide him in there. Enough's enough. Enough's enough of Sam Ersson. It's got to go in a different direction. I'm not necessarily saying go out and break the bank and bring in a goalie from a trade. But you could go after an Alex Lyons or an Anthony Stolarz type of guy that's out there. Buffalo's got 5 goalies. I think Alex Lyons could be brought for a 3rd-round draft pick. I would do it,
Bring him back. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't mind coming back here,
No, I definitely will. And I get it. As I said, but when I look at these games, and especially the Ersson games, I mean, how many of these games? Because the Flyers usually score 3 or 4 goals in these games, and they give up 7. But you know what? They score some goals. But how many games that Ersson has cost us? And it's not all his fault. I get that. But as you said, every time somebody shoots the puck, I'm like, it's a crapshoot if it's going to go in or not.
You kind of like when you see the opposing team taking a shot, you just kind of grin and bear. You go, okay.
Shut one eye, kind of wink a little bit, look at the screen.
Yes, I mean, you kind of turn and look and go, okay, they scored. Or if he does, stop it, you go, okay, well, But again, you're right. I mean, the Flyers are putting up goals to win games. That's why I said, like, if you look at it tonight, Flyers had 35 shots on net. 35 shots on net.
Yeah.
Between Vladar and Ersson, they gave up 27 shots on net, and they scored on 6 of them.
And that's another thing too. The other night, I think the game they lost like 7-3 or 6-1. They had allowed 17 shots, and Ersson gave up 6 goals. That's like junior. That's like youth level hockey stuff, man. Come on.
That's like me playing that.
I would do. You would do better than that. Just the sure odds you'd do better than that, man. But no,
and here's the thing too. Like, it's starting to get this time of year, and they're starting to fade back instead of kind of keeping pace. So I mean, I felt like that game against the Islanders the other night. They had to come out and make a statement, and they were just flat.
Mm-hmm.
They were so flat, man. I felt bad for you. I'm like, Jesus God. I said, how's Matty going to go and talk about a 4-0 loss?
Especially after what they did in Colorado, with might have been their best game of the year.
Yes. And you know, it's really funny. My assistant county manager is a huge Flyers fan. And we were talking about that game. And he goes, I can see the Flyers winning this game tonight. You're talking about the game, Friday night. I was like, really? I was like, Colorado? In Colorado? He's like, dude, think about it. He's like, nobody's going to expect them to win this game. He goes, everybody, Colorado's the best team in hockey. He goes, Flyers are going to go in there. He's like, I'm telling you. He's like, I got a feeling. He goes, I think they're going to win. He goes, I think they're going to whip them. And, when I had to go back in for the Storm, I looked at him. I said, man, you called that one.
Yeah.
I said, because I didn't have no faith they were going to go in there and win.
Had a great third period. All right, Mike, listen, I'll Mike Laro on the Clear the Ice, and we'll wrap this up, and you guys will head over there. Mike, just start the show when you can, and everybody will grab a toss over there. So
you
thanks
got
for
it,
jumping
Matty.
in, Mike. We'll talk to you later. Oh, sorry, Mike, go ahead.
I like the hire of the OC. A lot of good reports coming out of where he's been.
As a quarterbacks coach. I don't know about him as an offensive coordinator, right? Okay.
No. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that said he's a person on the rise. And this is Sirianni's last kind of neck out. I think he's gone. So what do you think the big surprise is, too? I've been hearing about this special announcement that's coming.
Two things. I think it's two things. I think they're either going to fire Sirianni or the more realistic one is Vic Fangio announces a retirement.
If he does, you go out and get Sean McDermott.
Yeah. Now, I've heard people say, it's about a stadium. First of all, I heard people say it's about a stadium in the Franklin Mills Mall property in Northeast Philly. Are you insane about putting a stadium up there? The traffic will not be able to move through those neighborhoods. There is no direct on and off ramp from 95 to the Franklin Mills Mall. That's a terrible spot to put a stadium, if that's where they're looking to put one.
You can build
I used to hang around that area all the time, man. I know it well.
Yeah, I know, but you can build ramps, dude. You can build ramps.
It's so stupid. Why would you put it in Northeast Philly, man? Keep it in South Philly or in that area. Don't bring it up to the Northeast. That makes no sense.
They're running out of room. They're running out of room down there.
I thought they were building up the stadium complex. I thought they were building that whole area up. Why are they thinking about moving the team? I don't get that.
Because they want to put the new Sixers Flyers arenas going down there. They just, from what I got told, Jetro got bought out right next.
Yeah, so I heard that. Yeah.
So I mean, like, really, the only place you can really kind of put a new football stadium is going to be opposite of where the Sixers and Flyers are going to be playing. So if the Flyers and Sixers move at the Jetro part of it, that means you're going to have to move over to, you're going to have to start building it probably where the old vet was, and taking parking right next to Citizens Bank Park to open up the rest of that. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, and I don't think, to be honest with you, that would be really kind of far if you really kind of look at it. Just think about it.
It's off the beaten path. Yeah, it's Northeast Philly. It's way out there. It doesn't make any strategic location. You all right, you got to fly into the airport and take a half-hour drive up 95 North to get to that area. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense logistically.
Exactly. And even with practice, they're literally right down the street from their stadium right now. The NovaCare complex is right down the street. Exactly. Why would they put the NovaCare complex there and then have to ride a half hour up? You're right.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just wanted to give my opinion on it. I think I want to give this guy a chance and see what he can do.
All right, well, we'll see. We'll definitely be talking more about that. And you guys, I'm sure you and Al will talk about it on Sunday. So,
yeah. Oh, great job last week too, man. Having Jack Fritz on.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was a very good show. I wish I was a part of that. But
yeah, that was fun.
It was good. All right, Matty, be good, man.
All right, make sure you guys are checking out Mike Laro on the Clear the Ice program. Anytime now. I don't know, the Flyers game probably is over by now, but Joe Hale says, shouting out to Mike. Yes. Mike is a great guy. He is. Oh, look, big answer. You heard it here first, Matty. I am patient. I'm very patient when it comes to something that I can see a clear path to. I am not patient when I don't see a clear path. I don't see a clear path with the Eagles, and I don't see a clear path with the Sixers. I see a clear path for the Flyers and Phillies. I do. It ain't necessarily the most, expedient path, and it might not be the shortest path, but I do see a path. And they're on it, and they're doing what they have to do. But it is frustrating because you got to play these games. And honestly, how many of these Sam Ersson games the Flyers have lost that they might have won if a competent backup was playing? You know what I mean? If Vladar was playing as the backup and you had a competent starter, or, you know, whatever you want to look at like that. I take right now this. Yeah, it is hard to watch, man. Sixers won on my birthday. Well, happy birthday, Star Wars. Yes, Sixers just beat Sacramento 113-111. And Sean the OC. Is that what we're going to call him? Sean the OC? Sean Mannion? Again, how many times am I going to call him Manahan? It took me 5 months to say the word, to be able to pronounce Patullo correctly. And I'll probably call him Manahan about 1 million times. But Sean Mannion is the new offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles. And here to talk about it some more, my main man, Mike Papernick. Mike, what's up?
Yeah, what up, Matty? Well, I don't know who this guy is, but I mean, yeah, but that was, man, you know, I would like to have been a fly on that wall for the last 3 weeks. And look, we don't want Dable, we don't want McDaniels, we don't want Monken, we don't want Gruden, we don't Sean Mannion. Yep.
Isn't it when you see Sean Mannion and you hear about his resume and you see where he's coming from, doesn't it like sort of remind you of somebody like the guy we just fired? Isn't it like the same person? Think about it.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, what they're probably thinking is he's an outsider. He has no connection to. I mean, that's a good thing. He has no connection to Sirianni at all. Like, there's no man crush. There's no connection at the hip. There ain't nothing there. And like these, you know, like
crush.
But here's the problem. This ain't a young team no more. This is a veteran team, and you're bringing a guy in who I guarantee they're saying he worked with Jordan Love, and there was another quarterback, and they're kind of similar. Him and Jalen, you know, how they could do things and they could move, and you know, and yeah, well. Yeah.
Well, would you have been happier if a Matt Nagy got the job or what's his name, the guy from the Giants, Brian Dable? you would have been happier about that?
Kafka, yeah. Because here's why Nagy. You ready? He's coming from Andy Reid. Doug Peterson came from Andy Reid. That's why. And I know Nagy. And I said this. He crapped the bucket in Chicago, but he was with Andy. I mean, that's right there. That's the reason. Now, this guy, you know what this is? This is a panic move. Nobody wanted the job. Yeah. Oh, you tell me Mike Kafka? I guarantee if they offered Mike Kafka the job, he'd have took it. This has got Nick. This is Howie going. I'm going to let Nick fire himself. I'm going to let Nick fire himself.
You mentioned that in the chat. Nick can't be that stupid, though, can he, Papernick? Can he be that stupid?
Well, listen, like I asked you a question a couple weeks ago or whatever it was between Brett Brown, Robbie, and Nick Sirianni. If they without any help, who do you trust in making a move for their team? Any type
it's
of
impossible
football
to answer. I can't answer that question.
There you go. Well, there it is. Think about that.
You got to go with Sirianni because he's the one who won the Super Bowl. But again, he fell ass backwards into that. It was the team that did it. But that's an impossible question to answer. It's impossible.
That's my point. Think about that. You got this guy's how he's sitting there going, I don't have to fire him. He's going to do it himself, and I'm just. And if I'm Vic Fangio, seriously, if I'm Vic, if he's thinking about retirement, he ought to just stay because he'll get the head coaching position.
And listen, in all honesty, you know, the Mannion hire, and Mannion is considered in a lot of circles an up and coming, a riser in the league, right? Did the Eagles make this move more for the future of 2027 and beyond than per se for next season? Is this maybe a move to kind of get him in the organization now, you know, get his feet wet with play calling, and then really kind of worry about him after the season once the smoke clears and they move on from Sirianni? Do you think this is more of a future move for the Eagles?
No, listen. Listen. I'm going to go back to what I said about 5 seconds ago. This is a panic move, and yeah, I'm telling you, this is you're. Think about this, Matty. Think about it. You're telling me Mike Kafka, Nagy turned down this job? Seriously? Like
No.
here's what it came down to. Kafka probably wanted autonomy. Nagy probably wanted autonomy. This guy don't care because it's just basically. He's just hoping to get move up. He probably got told, listen, if Nick gets fired, you might be the head coach game 2. I mean, I'm telling you, man, this is I don't know. Look, did you see the head? I saw a headline today before all this happened earlier today. It said the Eagles were considering letting Nick Sirianni call the plays next year.
Yeah, I saw that too.
That's why I'm thinking this is a panic move. Somebody in that organization has a brain cell and said, listen, look, we can't do this. Look, just let Nick hire somebody. He'll get fired and we can move on. That's just going to happen. I mean, you're telling me Doug Peterson, Doug's out there. He said he would. Frank Reich was out there. Mike Kafka. Cliff Kingsbury, you're telling me like that they're stuck with this guy? What do they think he's Andy Reid 2.0 except in the OC position? Like he's going to come in?
The initial Homer reactions have been, well, Andy wasn't Andy Reid till he got here. Doug wasn't Doug till he got here. And they said Nick wasn't Nick before they got. I'm like, whoa, that's a little too far to say anything about Nick, but that's, and listen, there is some truth to that. You've got to give someone an opportunity to be something, and I got it. But as I said, I'm down the middle on this. I don't really care who it was as long as it works well for Jalen. But I just can't get away from the fact that we basically hired the guy we fired just in another body. I mean, he's got the same level of experience that Patullo had when he took the job. And yet we're expecting different results. Why? Because he's coming from Green Bay, and he's worked with Jordan Love. I don't understand. Connection. I don't. Right, but I don't understand that philosophy. I don't.
No, like I said, look. You said that Nick couldn't be that stupid before.
No, I don't think he can be that stupid.
Well. Did they say Nick Sirianni would have a say in this?
Yeah, I honestly don't. If that's the case, if Howie's up there, as I said, if Howie's like, Nick, guess what, man? We're going to let you hire the next offensive coordinator. And Nick swirls around his chair. And Nick swirls around his chair and goes, squirrel. I mean, yeah, if that's what we're dealing with, if that's the level that we are dealing with Nick Sirianni, then this team is a lot worse than we think it is. And come on, man. He's got to at least have one brain cell to know that he's being set up, right?
No, he don't, because listen. I read an article where they said that they should try to trade him to the Raiders. Trade Sirianni to the Raiders because they need a head coach. I was man. What are you going to get? A couple bags of peanuts or something? I don't know. What are you getting back?
For Brock Bowers for Sirianni, I'd do that move. That's I would make that trade. Yeah. Give me Brock Bowers for Sirianni.
Listen, look. You're better off watching paint dry for you see something like that happening, because
I think you're right.
Now to get to the Phillies, did you see this? All right, this is from it's called The Good Fight, a Philadelphia Phillies community. The 2026 Phillies roster projection, number 1. I'm going to get the outfield. Wait till you hear this outfield projection.
I think I saw
Brandon Marsh, Justin Crawford, Adolis Garcia, and Johan Rojas is your backup center fielder.
No, I didn't see that. So continue.
Well,
continue. I want to hear
the rest was Schwarber. He's the only DH they got. Harper, Stott. This is for the infield. Turner, Baum, Sosa, Kemp. That ain't too bad. I mean, that's common sense. You're going to get that. The catchers are Remulto, Marchand. And what you got relief? I mean, that's all the relievers they got. They have and the relief is Duran, Alvarado, Keller, Banks, Kirkering. I don't know who this guy is. Zach McCambley. Seth
they
Johnson,
picked him up as a Rule 5.
Jonathan
He was a
Bolt.
Rule 5 draft pick this year. They picked him up from somewhere. Seth Johnson's one of our farm hands. Yeah.
Yeah, I know who he is. Yeah, he's the guy that got from Baltimore in the Soto trade.
Yep.
And then how we knew the pitching staff: Sanchez, Jesus, Lazar. I was just shocked. Rojas, really? Like, where's
Rojas, man? Get the hell out of here.
Well,
no way.
So that's telling me there's only 2 guys coming up for this year. If the way this is, that means Rincones ain't going to be up.
No, there's no way that Rojas is making this team out of spring training. There's absolutely no way. And Kemp is probably going to be that 4th outfielder. He's going to be that platoon guy. I would imagine that Otto Kemp would be that guy, not Rojas. Honestly, they're going to use Kemp as all over the place along with Sosa. They're gonna platoon the hell out of both of them. I don't see Rojas making this team, or they add that additional bat. Eugenio Suarez is the name that keeps flying around again. Everyone's talking about him. Luis Arraez is still out there, that second baseman from San Diego. I mean, it's not over yet, but if Rojas is that 4th outfielder, Mike, then that's bad. That's real bad.
There's a kid. I just saw the article. He's 17 years old, and he's a shortstop. He's 6'4". They're comparing him to Ellie De La Cruz. His name is His name is he's number 11 in the number 11 prospect, Romelli Espinoza. He's a 17-year-old shortstop. He's 6'4" already. He's like lank, tall, and they think he could be like Ellie De La Cruz.
Really, I've never heard of him before. He's He's a prospect coming in. He's not been drafted yet, correct?
No, he's been drafted. It says right here. It says, but when you hit the mystery name at number 11, Romelli Espinoza, 17-year-old shortstop who played for the Phil's squad, the Dominican Summer League in 2025, the kid's first year of pro ball. So he hasn't been over here yet. He's over there, but
signing player. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but he's 6'4". They're saying he's
6'4" shortstop.
Yeah. Well, they're compared to Ellie De La Cruz,
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well,
listen, yeah.
How big was how tall wasn't Alex Rodriguez? He was about 6'3", 6'4".
Nah, Alex Rodriguez 6'1", 6'2".
Was he? I thought he was taller than that.
A-Rod was not short, but he wasn't. I don't think A-Rod was more than 6'2". Before the steroids, I don't know what he was after, but
so wait.
A-Rod's 6'3". He's 6'3". He's 6'3".
I gotta say this. Where's Mike Lauro? When I talk to him, how is he gonna? Hey, man, I get it. He's gonna give Sean Mannion a chance. Come on, man. You look.
Mike, it's the homer stuff. Mike, it's the homers. They gotta do something to get them to sleep at night, and it's a disease.
He's my boy.
He is. He's my boy
I've
too.
known him I've known him for 30 years.
Pop over Clear the Ice right now and bang on him because he's doing the Clear the Ice show right now. But listen, I'm about to jump in it with a homer right now. Al's been chiming in here, so I'm about to put him to school. But that's what homers are going to do. Homers are going to say things to make this seem better than it really is, and yet none of us know what this is. Nobody does. Optically to me, it looks like Kevin Patullo and his doppelganger. That's what it looks like to me. That we have the same guy we just fired or we just demoted. That's what it looks like to me until further notice.
Yeah, no, you're right. Before I get off, I want to ask you one question. If Sirianni isn't fired, from this big Scheffler.
That's what I want to know now, man. I want to know what that is.
But here's the thing: if Fangio's retiring, if Howie hired this guy, is it going to be another a 3-month search for a defensive coordinator? And they're going to get some guy who was coaching somewhere in Feltonville, Mayfair, Olney, and bring him in. He's the new defensive coordinator. I mean, this is what it seems like it's come down to.
I think it's McDermott. I think McDermott gets the job if they fire. If Fangio retires, it's got to be Sean McDermott. They got no other choice. They got to bring somebody in that can easily transition quickly. They got to.
I say Rex Ryan. You know why? Like he would make no. Here's the reason why he would make Nick feel so uncomfortable as head coach. He would. Yes, he would. His press conferences would be unbelievable. Nick. He would be squirming over there, and it would be so great. I mean, Sean Mannion would be squirming. It would be. It would be great, but we're never going to get that. So, we'll get Sean McDermott, and and he'll be the next head coach. And will we be Buffalo 2.0 then? Oh boy,
that's going to be interesting. All right, man. We'll see you Sunday, Mike. Thanks a lot for a great week, brother.
All right, no problem. All right,
Mike Pappernick, wrapping it up. A great week. All good stuff. Oh, here we go. Al's all over the place here. Sixers won on my birthday. Sean the OC. Mike had less shoveling this weekend than he will do on Clear the Ice. Yeah. I feel sorry for Mike tonight having to do that show. I don't think Vic, because they would have never let Clint take an interview or let Parker go. I think Lane announces this. And let's attack this. All right. So, Al, you're Mr. Reasonable. You're Mr. Level-headed. Everybody knows that after the season, I mean, like right after the season, someone's not going to make a decision about their future in the league, right? If Vic Fangio is at a point in his career, which he is, that is almost like year to year, right? He's not going to make a decision as soon as the season ends. No, he's going to step back and think about it and not tell anybody his thoughts, right? He's not going to go to Howie and be like, hey, man, hold on to the defensive staff because I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to come back or not. No, he's just going to go off in his own little world, and he's going to contemplate his future. So letting Christian Parker go and Clinton Hurdle and all those guys go, it's got nothing to do with whether or not Vic Fangio has made his announcement or his intentions known to Howie Roseman. Nothing. Because Vic Fangio is not going to say that right off. He's going to go and take some time to think about it. It's a huge decision. And you're not going to make that decision with the raw emotion of the season just ended. So I disagree with that philosophy 100%. And honestly, I don't think the Eagles really had much of a say in whether or not these players or these coaches could go somewhere. I don't know how that works. But to me, it just, again, this is Homerism. Homer's trying to justify why the sky is blue, right? Or why the duck-billed platypus lives. That's what they're doing. The Eagles don't take the sexy pick. It seems to work. And I can't deny that. It has. Up to this point. I love Mikey Pat. Man crush. I wish to get some. Yeah. And that's, what? With the hiring of Sean Mannion, dies the Cooter references when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles. And yes, I know there's a certain element among us who was really looking forward to enjoying that for at least 2026. Thank God that didn't happen just based on that. Because we would take it to a whole other level here in this town, screaming it out game day, chance of Cooter raining down from the rafters at the link. All right. Who knows what they'd be throwing onto the field and all that kind of stuff. So thank God we dodged that bullet. I didn't want Dable. Why, Al? Why not? Al and Mike, great shows. Love the shows. What do you mean, Al and Mike? Mike hasn't been on a show in over a week. What about me? I've been pulling down I've been keeping the store open, man. Come on, Joe. Man, I named you the number one contributor in 2026, man, but come on. NFL sources indicate that the Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator Vic Fangio may soon announce his retirement. Well, that seems to be the prevailing winds there, Star Wars. And if that is the case, and we just went through this 3.5-week search for an offensive coordinator, can we endure another 3.5-week search for a defensive coordinator? Are the Eagles going to not have a defensive coordinator by the time the Phillies start the regular season? And I think, honestly, if he does announce his retirement, and I know that that's going to create a panic around Homerville. Man, they're going to flip out. They are. They're going to lose their ever-loving minds because the defense was the only thing they could hang their hats on right now. Do they bring in an unknown? Dust off your unknown defensive coordinator, your up-and-coming rising star defensive play callers, because everyone's going to be saying names that we never heard before. Or do they go with the safe pick or the safe hire and throw the world at Sean McDermott and ask him to come back to Philadelphia. I think you'd have to almost go with McDermott and beg him to take that job, if that's the case. I think anyone announced retirement, they will announce this year. This is his last year, not immediate retirement. Again, it's Homer coping. I understand. Do I know Muckbanger Brother? I do not. Giving Sean a chance. You got to give Sean a chance. You got no other choice. I'm on Lamber's side always. I hope Lamar does. Yeah, I think he does too. I've always liked Lamar. I have. That's not, Derrick Henry's a good running back, but he's never had really good wide receivers. Zay Flowers is up and down. Would I have drafted Lamar Jackson? No. Not in that draft class. 2018? Man, that was a hell of a class, huh? And Sam Darnold being the first of them to get to the Super Bowl. Man, that's awesome. Pennsylvania weather report for next week, cold, frigid, and freezing. Yeah. He's an international signing. Yes, he's one of the international guys. Did another message get? No, I didn't see anything get deleted. And another, no, I did not see any of your messages get deleted, my man. Exactly. No one knows. So why hate or Homer let stiffed out? Why hate or Homer? Because I'm not talking about Homer or hate. See, it's a difference. The opposite of Homer is not hate. You know that, right? That's not what this is. Homers go over the top trying to make stuff out of nothing. Just trying to justify something in the most obscure ways sometimes. You're looking at it realistically, it's like, okay, Sean Manahan is basically Kevin Patullo until proven otherwise. End of story. End. That's it. No need to continue on with this conversation until he proves otherwise. But I'm going to hear from the homers over the next 3 or 4 or 5 months about how fresh perspective coming in from, working with Jordan Love. He's, as Peppernick kind of said, no ties to Sirianni or the Eagles. He might be okay because he's just got that hunger in him. They're going to make up stuff about this guy's personal character. They know nothing about the man. That's what the Homer side stuff is, right? And the opposite of being a Homer is not being a hater. It's not. And that's another misnomer in this whole war. The opposite of being a Homer is not a hater. It's a realist. That's the opposite of being a Homer. How the Phillies' Kyle Schwarber join Babe Ruth and Mel with a history of 40 home runs in 2026. What? How's Phillies' Kyle Schwarber can join? Oh, is that was most home runs on as a career? I have no idea. I don't think I think he's talking to everybody. No one can delete messages but me, and I'm not deleting any messages. All right, yeah, no one's deleting any messages. I didn't see that. I'm going to do some research in Mannion. Okay. Look on his Wikipedia page. That's what I did. And that's all the research I had to do. Peppernick says the Eagles needed their Vic Fangio on offense. This makes me wonder if Vic is retiring and going to San Francisco to be with a real head coach. So he's going to retire just to get out of Philadelphia and then jump back into the game. I wouldn't hate McDermott. I wouldn't hate him either. And the Eagles would have no other recourse but to do that. They'd have to go there. We're way too late in the game to give another up-and-coming defensive coordinator a shot. Way too late in the game for that. Way too late in the game. All right. We are running late. Let's get into the other night segment. We're probably going to cut it short after that because I'm not sure what's going on with the Clear the Ice. They're probably on right now. But we're going to do the other night, and then we're going to call it a night after we've checked more messages. But let's get into the other night segment. We'll save the hot stove. We'll save the card segment till Sunday. But here we go for the other night. All right, there we go. It is the of the night segment here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. On the final word, No two for tonight. We're not doing NHL and a Philly spotlight. We're just doing a Philly spotlight, and I'm spotlighting the man, the myth, the legend. But before I spotlight it, and Peppernick was reading what the Good Fight said about the Phillies' projected roster, I'll one up you, Peppernick. I don't know where I saw this on Twitter. Some Nimrod came out with a projected Phillies lineup. Now I'm going to try to remember this, and I think I got it. You got Turner leading off. Who the hell do you have batting? Schwarber batting second. Harper third, Stott batting fourth. Yes, Bryson Stott was the cleanup man in this guy's lineup. JT batting fifth. I think he had Real Muto at six. No, JT batting fifth, Bohm batting sixth, Garcia seven. Man, that's not right. I got to find this because this thing made me cringe when I saw it. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I should have bookmarked it, but I did not. It was the most insane lineup I've ever seen in my life. When I saw Bryson Stott in the 4-hole, I almost lost my mind. I think it was this site here. Let me see. Let me bring this up. I think this was it. Oh, man, I hope I can find it. I should have saved it because I knew I was going to make fun of it. I can't find it. All right. Anyway, but I know I saw Stott batting fourth. And actually, I think he had JT batting eighth. Something like that. So I guess Rob Thompson's not the worst option we could have. But anyway, let's get to our other night segment here on the show. It is Kyle Schwarber, right? The man that makes the train go. The man that we had a chance to move off of in 2026, but we brought him back for 5 more years. And you know what? To Kyle's credit, and before we get into that, but to Kyle's credit, we've sort of turned the corner, and he has on the 198, 199 batting average seasons. Remember those a few years back where he was batting around 199, and all you were really getting was a home run out of him. He's still a home run hitter, and that's pretty much all you're going to get, but he does get on base, and he works a lot of walks, and he is a force multiplier inside that lineup. And last season was just off the chain where he was with the home runs. And he had let's bring him up. Let's bring up his pretty graphic here. 56 homers and 132 RBIs, 240 batting average, 145 hits, scored 111 runs, and had an OBP of 365. Of course, some of his highlights were the 4 home run game on August 20th. He won the NL All-Star Game MVP with his work in the swing off at the end of that game. And obviously bringing Schwarber back, though not my number one pick to do. I honestly thought they should have went another way with that. Pete Alonso was the way I thought they should have went, but they didn't. They brought him back, and obviously that was the big slam dunk move of the offseason. It's looking like it, but on any other MLB team, Kyle Schwarber will be welcomed with open arms. With here, he's welcomed with like a kind of a shrug of the shoulders, right? And it's not because we're spoiled. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is the reason why we welcome Kyle Schwarber with shrugged shoulders is because we have a team consisting of Kyle Schwarber when it comes to the type of hitter that he is, right? But to Kyle's credit, he's embraced that, and he's tried to round himself into a better version of that. And it, for the most part, judging by what he did in 25 and what he did in 24, has worked out. So he will be a focal point in this lineup yet again. And God help me if he's not batting fourth. God help me. Please bat him fourth. But 5 more years at least of Kyle Schwarber. And it could be worse. It could be, but it could be better. And there's your Philly Spotlight player of the night here on the show, Kyle the Bomb Schwarber. Lamar is overrated. Yeah, I am an equal opportunity smack talker to call out the new OC. Jim Schwartz is what Mike Laro says. Yeah, we're just going to let's just bring the old band. Let's bring them all back together. Joe Hale's great show. Everyone, pain meds are kicking in as they give me morphine. Joe Hale, listen to me, brother. If you're still tuned in, please rest easy. Thank you for all your support. Get well soon. You know, I hate to hear that you had a heart attack, but rest easy, brother. All right. I think Howie is licking his chops to watch Sirianni fire himself. We talked about this earlier in the night. Thank you. Thank you, Jorge. You're the man. Have a good night. All right. Listen, we will not do the card of the night. We will do that next week on Sunday. And we'll also get back into doing a twofer on the of the night segment. So we're going to wrap it up here tonight. We're going to end the week. Our final Sunday right now, or this week. Sorry about that. What's going on there? There it is. All right, here we go. So I don't know. I would imagine. I think is it still happening? Clear the ice. Yeah, it was happening, or it happened. Clear the ice was tonight. Tomorrow, Big Al will be back with the Philly Friday Frenzy. The best of the It's a Wrap Sports on Saturday, along with the Flyers Kings Clear the Ice. And then the Philly AM Sports Show and the final word on Sunday. So there is your weekend at a glance here on the network. And please make sure you're checking us out. Stay warm again this weekend as there's weather moving in again, and it's cold temperatures moving back in. So stay in front of your computer, stay in front of your TV, and keep us with you. We'll be just like we did last weekend. We'll be along for the ride as well. You guys have a great night. Have a great rest of your work week and an outstanding weekend. I will catch you on the backside of your weekend, Sunday night at 9 p.m. Until then, guys, take care. See ya.